Linda from paperboutique.blogspot.com. Today I'm doing a video demonstrating several quick and super easy ideas for finishing the inside of your cards. Let's go ahead and begin. First of all, I have a card that I stamped and embossed, and then I used Marvy markers to color in the stamp. One of my favorite techniques for finishing the inside of a card is to use computer-generated text. What I do is I go ahead and measure the final size that I want my inside liner to be, and then I go ahead and create a text box. What I did here is I measured it about 1/4 of an inch. Some people like to measure it out to here, 1/8 of an inch. Some people like to just cover the entire inside of the card. It just depends on what you like. I love to use www.imagination.com for free poems, sentiments. It's just a really fun website, and I'll put a link on my blog. Once I have the measurements, then I create, like I said, a text box in Word, and here's an example. I just go ahead and then type the text, and this is just really a very basic, I'm just showing super simple. You can do different fonts, and you can add all sorts of different things, and you could even use clip art and just really bling it up. But for this, I just kept it really simple. After I do the text box and then do the text, I go ahead and run it through the printer, and it's just on everyday printer paper. I also like to put an arrow so I can see which direction it went into the printer, and I'll know exactly where it prints. So I'll print this out. Then what I will do is I'll measure, in this case the yellow paper, to the exact measurements on this, and then I'll tape it down. I put tape about 1/8 of an inch of tape on 4 corners, and I use removable masking tape. If you don't have removable masking tape, use regular masking tape and just put it up on stick it to your clothing 3 or 4 times to remove the stickiness, but just use very little in the 4 corners just to hold it. Then I'll put it back into the printer. I'll adjust the printer to make sure that it's printing on thick. It's set to print on thick cardstock. That way you'll make sure you get a good final product. But before you hit the print button, go back into your Word program and remove the border from the text box. Otherwise, you'll end up getting some of that on your yellow paper. And then you just put it through the printer, and when you're done, it'll come out looking like this. And just put a piece of tape runner. I used a small piece of tape runner here and a small piece here. Some people like to just do one side. Other people like to do both sides. When you buy a finished card, sometimes it'll be one side will be just tacked down, sometimes they'll both be. I just like both of them tacked down. The next technique, and it's super simple and it's cheating, is I made this daisy card using the Cricut Walk in My Garden flower on page 82. And all I did, and like I said, it's cheating, I just cut off the edge of it, put a border, and then when you open it up, I finished it off with just a regular piece of decorative cardstock. This is really cheating, it's so easy. And then you could just do a rub-on, so that's super quick. Next, I made this particular card using a file called Scallop Shapes that I purchased from SVG Cuts, and then obviously this is from the George cartridge, and this is from the Storybook cartridge, and it was a stamp. But the way I like to do a real quick and easy inside of a shaped card is to just do the card on double-sided paper, and it works really quick and it's super easy. When the other thing I did to finish this particular card is I used a rub-on, which is also very easy. I like to take an element from the front of the card and copy it on the inside. I cut out a George flower, just used a white pen to give it some dimension, added a punch and a rhinestone, but once again, very, very easy. The next card that I've made is called the Anniversary card, and it's from the Wild card on page 35. And I also used the liner for this particular card. Super, super quick. You can make a card in a Wild card cartridge in literally 5 minutes. When you cut the liner, you will get an inside square. So what I did is I just used that square, matted it with another 1/8 of an inch larger cardstock, and put it on the inside. Cute. Took 5, maybe 6 minutes to make that card. This card is from the, I forgot which cartridge it was from. It's from the Forever Young cartridge. And this is, I used an SVG cut. My 2 favorite cartridges right now are Wild Card and Forever Young. Next week they'll change, but I love both of those cartridges. So to keep the inside very easy, instead of using an SVG cut, I used just a plain paper punch, and I just tacked it on using my tape runner. And then really for a very simple look, I used from Beyond Birthdays, the Cricut cartridge Beyond Birthdays. I did Happy Birthday and the shadow. So many of the Cricut cartridges come with phrases, and it just makes it very, very quick to do a card, the inside of a card. Well, we've talked about a few ways to do the inside of the card. The other thing I just want to briefly mention is if you have time, it's great to do matching envelopes and liners that would match to your cards. I did a video a couple of weeks ago on using, this one's made with a Martha Stewart scoreboard, and this one's made with the Score Pal. I did a video, and you can check my YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it. And there's instructions for the liners. They're super quick. The other thing that you can do if you're pressed for time is just add a liner, just really easy to your homemade envelope. It just gives it or to your purchased envelope, it just gives it a nice look. One of my absolute favorite resources for getting ideas about how to finish the inside of your cards is from Card Creations. This is a magazine that comes out, well, it comes out frequently, but the one about doing the inside of your cards comes out once a year, and it sells for $14.99, and it has much more elaborate examples than what we talked about in this video, but it's super great ideas. I'm just gonna thumb through a couple of them. And I purchased this one, I believe I bought at, no, I don't think I got it at Michael's. Oh, I bought it at Hastings. I know that Barnes & Nobles also carries them, and I've seen them in Archivers as well. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching today, and please check out my blog at www.paperboutique.blogspot.com for more videos and project ideas. Bye-bye.